Thomas Award to a very, very deserving individual who the tennis committee has chosen because, whoops, Daddy just fell.
What a wise guy.
Why is he not in that?
Oh my, you don't have to do that. Lean it against the table. Okay. All the glitches that happen in life. The award is not given every year. It's very special. And it's special because it imbues all the character, the hard work, and the discipline that my dad demonstrated for years here at the tennis courts. He was a lifetime member, tennis playing member of Madison Beach Club. He started me in clinics right here, and he became a legend, Mr. T. And I'm sure that there are many of you here, adults now, who are kids, and you grew up with my dad taking you to different tournaments in his big white station wagon with the radio blaring. So I hope those are good memories. A little bit about the plaque. Daddy was a lifetime member, as I said, of the Beach Club. And he embodied everything that was important for caring for something for a long, long time and making sure that it prospered and moved forward for the future generations. He was an outstanding person, and many of you knew him. And I am just happy to be here to be giving out this award. When the award was established, my father had taken care of rebuilding the tennis house as you see it today. He was involved for over 40 years, and he did many good things here at the tennis courts. After he passed away, and the award was given, it was only given to individuals who embodied, as I said, the character traits of what is now on the plaque, wherever the plaque is. Where is the plaque?
It's right here.
Okay. So I hope you have a chance to read the plaque. It really does say a bit about my dad. The individual that we have chosen, the tennis committee has chosen for today, is also an outstanding lifelong member of the Beach Club tennis program. I have known this person my childhood growing up as he grew up, and he's embodied nothing but the best of everything that is represented here in the plaque. I would like to have you know that he continues to be very active on the tennis committee, and 38 years actually he's been on the tennis committee. That's a long time. He has given time and effort and many opportunities to the younger kids, and he's monitored and played in many, many of the tournaments, and probably, as I know, has won many, many of the tournaments. I have two people who would like to speak after I have announced the winner, and I will ask them to come up after I've given the award. So, I hope he is here. I would like, I get a nod. I would like to give you the name of the person the tennis committee has chosen this year for the John Thomas Award, which exemplifies everything good about this Madison Beach Club tennis court facility. I would like to invite Hank McGuire to come forward. was told Hank was doing a walkabout. And that absolutely terrified me because I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now?
All right, well, thank you very much. I'm very surprised. Okay, so can we,
This way.
well, I knew Mr. T, Mr. Thomas. We didn't really back then. It was Lance Dennett and I mostly pelling around. With Jamie Burns was the head pro. And this is, and Mr. T, Mr. Thomas was, well, he was always Mr. Thomas to us. He was always here. He was a constant presence. And I've known about the award for years since it was founded. And I've always admired all the people that won it. And to get it is.
Your friends have a few words to say while
No,
you're standing.
no.
I'd like to introduce Charlie Stone and Steve Godikson tonight.
Absolutely not. Two guys I would have picked.
I have things to say. I wrote them down. I've always had really bad luck in the sport on Labor Day.
Charlie, pull it up to your mouth.
Hopefully it goes better today. So I'll talk into this. I've got the wrong page first.
These yours are typed. Mine are
Not a chance you're going to be able to read that. All right, here we go. I got it. Cinda, I'm really pleased to be part of this, and I can't think of a better recipient of the John Thomas Award than Hank. Is this working?
No, you got to move over.
I got to go this way.
There you
There you
go.
go.
All right. Those of us. I think your hand might be Oh, okay. How am I doing so far? Those of us who've been around long enough know what the award means, and it's a big deal. Mr. Thomas was a legend around here, and to have Hank as a part of his legacy is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Cinda, for including me in this. It's really great. Context matters. Bob Burks ran the men's doubles championship here for a long time. And when he stepped down and chose a successor, he chose Hank. And trust me when I tell you, Bob did not take that decision lightly. As a tennis player, it's Mike's.
I think if you face, you have to face the speaker.
Face this. All right. All right. As a tennis player, Bob won pretty much everything around here. As a tournament director, at least until Hank got here, he had no peer. The courts were perfect. He literally carried a toothbrush around with him to clean the lines to make sure they were absolutely perfect. You did not show up late or you would be defaulted. You had 15 minutes, not 16. You had 15. You did not, spectators did not come in here until there was an odd game and the players were changing sides. You definitely watched your language and your behavior. Some of us with more success than others. Bob knew that in Hank, he was handing his baby off to someone he knew would take the responsibility seriously, uphold our traditions, and also had his name up in the ballroom multiple times. My point is that Bob was the embodiment of tradition, and I can't honestly think of a better through line than to have Hank tapped for as many tennis program responsibilities. First time Bob asked me to call lines for a tournament, even though I was pretty salty about not playing in the finals, I got a letter from him the next week thanking me for upholding those traditions. When Hank came in, he asked me to call lines because, again, I was available. And after the match, he bought me a couple beers over there, which I also appreciated. I interpreted this as Hank's way of evolving our club's traditions and moving into a slightly new era. There was no letter, but Bob didn't buy me a beer either. Hank has observed these traditions and responsibilities carefully, seriously, yet always with his trademark dry sense of humor. I think we all know how much work goes into this, how thankless the work is, and how grateful we are for Hank's competence and dedication. It's fair to say Hank went above and beyond as a youth as well. For those of you who weren't around in the olden days, before Hank became tournament director and chair of the tennis committee, Hank was the Hammer, a nickname bestowed by Bob in Hank's teen years. You don't receive a name like the Hammer from Bob unless it is very well deserved. Hank wasn't afraid to lean into a serve or overhead or crank up the spin on a forehand. Island Avenue was a frequent landing zone for errant shots. The intensity was high, the restraint often scant. Junior team matches were a big deal. Most of us got to the away matches in our mom's station wagons. That's not how the Hammer rolled. He and his boys, Lance Dennett, Doug Compton, Ted Bridgman, Jeff Pruden, and other characters, got around in his dad's giant Cadillac. After the matches were over, and we younger players were loading into a mom's station wagon, Hank and his crew, usually victorious, loaded into Hank's giant caddy, watching them drive away and knowing that this is terrible, knowing that at 18-ish, Hank and his friends would probably rehydrate in a different fashion than us. I thought they were gods. Anyway, we have a guy here who knows as much about NBC tennis history as the Hammer, and this couldn't be done without him. I'm not sure if this is completely factual, but I'm pretty sure he's won literally every tournament he was ever eligible for, from the 8 and unders on up, often at my expense. Steve Godikson, a few words.
All right. Would it be okay if I just talk this way?
But you got it.
Oh. Everybody hear me? Yeah. No?
Go stand next to the speaker.
Then I'll face this way. Okay. Oh, that's better. All right. First of all, I've been here all my life, and for those who didn't know me, when I grew up in that house right across the street over there, and my bedroom faced the road. So every single solitary morning, I would wake up to John Thomas with the old tractor, fixing the courts, getting them ready, especially after rain. And it would be like 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm a young kid, all I wanted to do was sleep. And all I heard was that tractor, and I look out, and there was Mr. Thomas again. And as Charlie said, that's all we knew him by, Mr. Thomas. Those were my vivid memories of Mr. Thomas, and of course, I carried on for the tennis courts as I got older and started becoming a player out here. Then my memories switched to all the iconic players that have walked these tennis courts. You had the Burks brothers, you had the whole Sales family, you had the Prudens, you had my mom. All these players, all these incredible families who walked these courts just made NBC tennis what it is today. My idols growing up were, of course, the Hammer and Lance Dennett. Without those two in my childhood, I really don't feel like I would ever been the player I am to this day. I would come out and watch them play every match they ever played, as juniors, as adults, and I just love watching them, and it was so inspiring to me. I remember playing the junior tennis teams, and as Charlie said, Hank would rope. Now again, Hank's quite a bit older than I am. Just saying. He knows it. He knows it. But I was probably 10, 11, just coming into my own as a young junior player. So Hank was 16, 17. Not that I'm dating Hank, but I am. I would love to watch him and Lance Dennett play, go to matches, and they would never lose. My favorite shot that Hank ever had, and for those who've been around long enough, is his American twist serve. Now, the American twist serve back in the 60s was a big thing. There are only a few people left to this day that actually have backs left because of the amount of torque you had to put in your back. Of course, I tried it when I was a kid. No success there. But I remember watching him serve. Like, it was so fun as a little kid. He would just kick these serves right up over your head. They would land in the box and hit the top of the curtain back here. Yeah, he had it. There was the hammer. But he still, if you watch him play, he still has. There's still memories of it. Can't quite kick it up anymore. But anyways, he's still got it. Hank, you have been on these courts longer than anybody. No one has ever given back more to this program. No one supports Madison Beach tennis more than you have. I have always loved sitting down and talking to you during matches, after matches. I love replaying the history of tennis, the history of these families. Nobody knows more than you, and it really is. Anybody gets a chance. If you haven't talked to Hank, he's got some great stories. Probably on me too. Right? Oh God. Okay. Wait, you're not getting the mic back. But Hank, when I think of you, I just think of honesty. I think of support. I think of everything that you've ever given back to this program. And there is nobody more deserving of the John A. Thomas Award than you. So congratulations. We, this family of Madison Beach Tennis, really appreciate everything you've ever done. Thank you.
I would like to actually hold the plaque and give it to him, if that's possible. And then we'll get on to the tennis. So in appreciation, this is the JT Award, which you well deserve. And congratulations.